Hello everybody, welcome to the MLC, that is the Mr. Limba channel. This is Mr. Limba. Today's topic, social media's hate speech crackdown is bullshit. Excuse my language, but once in a while, I will use some strong words just to get my point across. Now, as you know, I'm a black man, and the last thing you would expect from a black man is to call hate speech bullshit. Or should I say the crackdown on hate speech bullshit? Well, that's because I'm talking specifically about social media's hate speech crackdown. Now, I understand that hate speech is not a protected form of speech, even in the strongest of democracies. However, on social media, I would have to say hate speech or anything, any substance, any type of material produced, content produced on social media is not really offensive. What do I mean by that? It's not really on the attack. Nothing on social media can affect you unless you allow it to, really. If it's someone on your page, you can block them. If it's someone sending you something, you can block them. If it's a channel, you don't have to watch their videos. The power is really in the hands of those who participate on social media. The power is in the hands of the viewers. So, in my opinion, cracking down on hate speech is useless when it comes to social media. And I also believe there is a greater agenda behind it. And I will explain. Now, the first thing you might want to look at is certain quotes regarding censorship. Censorship reflects a society's lack of confidence in itself. Peter Stewart. Now, maybe this is not true, but if it is, it should be alarming. As we all know, we are facing economic crisis. We are facing war crisis. We are facing terror crisis. One thing that we do not need is society to lose confidence in itself. But I still doubt that that is the problem. George Bernard Shaw says the first condition of progress is removal of censorship. Now, I also do not believe that society is not trying to progress. Now, some may say that hate speech is not a form of progress. But when you can hear who hate you, you know what to avoid and you know how to improve. You know what security measures to put in place. By silencing the hate, you're not really solving the problem. It's like disconnecting the sensors that let you know that something is wrong with your car. You're not fixing the problem. You're just no longer getting the warning. Taking painkillers is not going to cure cancer. You may not feel the pain, but it will eventually kill you, because the disease is still there. On YouTube, for example, I am sure there are many channels that hate black people. I am sure that they're cracking down on some. However, I don't go looking for them. Why? It does not interest me. And if I do follow one, it is because I like to know what they are thinking, what they are planning, and who my enemies are. Not because I view them as an enemy, not because I hate them, but simply because I cannot stop them from hating me. But like I said, it is better to know than not to know. So these companies who advertise on YouTube through YouTube AdSense for some YouTubers who are monetizing their channels and their videos. They say they do not want to directly or indirectly support people who spew out hate speech. Now, while that sounds honorable and great, these are the very same companies that support a lot of foreign governments that do not support our governments, that do not support our countries where we live. These are the same companies that support groups that are not friends of our nations, meaning the people that inhabits the countries, our countries. Something here sounds a little hypocritical. Could there be something else that we are not being told? Could there be something else that they are trying to prevent, that they are trying to hide, that they are trying to keep us from talking about? While free speech is a cornerstone for democracy, free speech has been an initiator for major revolutions. Why do you think dictators, after all, do not allow free speech? When the people speak, they realize the effery that is going on, oftentimes pissing them off to the point where they say no more. After all, knowledge is power. If enough people are speaking, well, power is being distributed. And when enough obtain power and come together, we have a force that is unstoppable. At this very point, I am not saying one thing or the other. It is more so bringing something to your mind that can strike dialogue, that can strike thinking in your minds. As my previous video, Black Men Censorship and Propaganda, I talk about how the black male was being and is being censored. But we also have a censorship on a broader scale. It is oftentimes labeled political correctness. Political correctness. And it is censoring even the most powerful groups and ethnic groups in our societies. So this should be a striking concern for black people and other minorities. If the most powerful groups within our societies are being censored, if the most powerful ethnic groups in our nation are being censored, that should be something that worries the weaker ethnic groups and the weaker people that are living in these very same societies. As history have taught us, the weaker group is usually censored anyway. So when the stronger groups are being censored, this is time to be worried. I don't really think they're trying to help us by calling certain things hate speech, and certain things are really not hate speech. Certain things are really not hate speech. They're just strong criticisms. But after all, you don't have to watch it, do you? Social media is an interactive platform. But no one can make you view anything you don't want to view. Maybe the only thing that you're forced to view is by the social media platform itself, like the color theme they use for their site. YouTube with red, Facebook with blue, for example. However, an individual user of that platform cannot force you to watch a video, follow their Instagram, read their tweets, and be friends with them on Facebook. You cannot be forced to like their page. You can untag yourself and block the individual. So then I ask again, where is the problem? Just because certain hateful groups are talking about their ideas of hate does not mean if they are not given the chance to speak about it, they will be less hateful, or they will start forgetting about the hate that is in their hearts. What this is doing is putting other people in jeopardy. Other people who are analytical, other people who bring constructive criticism and call out certain BS in society, in jeopardy of losing a chance to speak and connect to others on a level in which they may fix the problems in their society. Those who are not speaking of violence, those who are not speaking of hate, those who are simply analyzing, viewing the problems, determining what they are, and seeking a solution. Those are the people who are really in jeopardy. One problem with rights is that once you start to eliminate rights, once you start to censor some, even if it is not a matter of rights, where do you draw the line? These are not things that you can do overnight. These are things that you must think about, gather around, and eventually come to a conclusion. Now, I'm not saying that some people shouldn't be shut down. But my question is, how serious is this issue really? Especially on a platform like YouTube. I have not came across not one KKK video since I've been on YouTube. As a YouTuber and as a follower of YouTube channels. And I have not been offended by not one racist white supremacist channel or man-hating channel, not criticizing honest things that men do that are wrong, actually just hating men. I have not come across not one. The reason why? I simply don't watch them. While I am a person who hates no one, I like to find a middle ground oftentimes to problems and seeing if there is a way we can reconcile most of our issues. I still strongly believe that others should be given the right to speak. Those of you who've seen my video called My Thoughts on the False Flagging of the Black Manosphere, I believe that's what it's called. It is a thumbnail of an Egyptian king and queen, where I defended most of the YouTube channels in the Black Manosphere that were being shut down because they were false flagged by a group of sisters who had a hit list, calling them hate speech when they were not, causing a lot of damage to a lot of big YouTubers. For a small channel like myself, I don't really care. But for a lot of guys, it's important and it's big. And I'm not just talking about the revenue that some makes from AdSense. I'm talking about their followers who obtain healing from listening to these channels and to these brothers who speak. Now my channel is smaller, but for the few that follow, I do care for them because they find something from what I deliver. I just want our society to be aware, to be alert. When any form of speech is being censored, we must make sure that we all have a say-so in it and that we agree in majority. Even though the platforms do not belong to us, it may be a greater underlying problem than we realize. I like to quote Tommy Smothers before I let you all go. He says, "The only valid censorship of ideas is the right of people not to listen." Which would summarize everything I've been saying. We wish to let all the big boys, the big platforms know, including those who advertise on different channels and different pages across the social media world. We can handle the censorship ourselves. All we have to do is not listen. I am Mr. Limba. Until next time.